This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone TV show, coming soon to screens of all sizes. On the X-Zone TV show, we'll investigate UFOs, ghosts, alien abductions, demonic possession, psychic phenomenon, angels, lake monsters, Bigfoot, unsolved mysteries, and all subject matter from within the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, and much, much more. The X-Zone TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, www.xzonetv.com, is a rel-mar McConnell media company and Airplay Media production. Unwilling to be the government's deadly assassin, gifted psychic Kahara Mitchell went AWOL and ended up buried under rubble in the wake of a great tsunami. She regained consciousness far from Earth on the medical ship of a Daguerreonian intergalactic fleet. Has she been rescued or abducted by aliens? The Chalice of Carrie, Kahira O'Donnell's latest paranormal science fiction romance, is the passionate story of an Earthwoman and her destined mates, twin kings from another galaxy. Kahara uses her gifts fighting alongside Lords Rom and Ra in a war that will determine the destiny of galaxies. The Chalice of Carrie by Kahira O'Donnell is now available at KahiraO'Donnell.com or at Amazon.com.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X-Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And welcome back, everyone. This is the X-Zone. I am Rob McConnell. We're coming to you from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Worldwide, toll-free, 800-610-7035. Email xzone at xzoneradiotv.com. On all social media sites, X-Zone Radio TV. And our X-Zone Radio website is www.xzoneradiotv.com. TV.com. And you can listen to the X-Zone 724 365 at xzoneradiotv.com. Peter Kling is my guest this hour. We had Peter on last week, and it's just one of these conversations that you just cannot bottle up into 1 hour. So we asked Peter if he'd come back and join us, and he graciously said yes. Peter, great talking to you again. For those listeners who may not have been with us last week, tell them about yourself.
Oh, that's one of the things that I hate to do, because when I get into talking about myself, it seems like you got to be making this stuff up. No, I'm not making this stuff up. I've got from the age of 5, I was taught biblical prophecy, biblical history, and exopolitics by some very old people who claim to be whom are now the immortals. They are long dead. Mm-hmm. The last thing that I was told, it was September 1975, I was 19 years old, I was told that my future was in the stars. And I was kind of confused about this. I just had watched this live presentation given by this person, very sweet elderly gentleman. And the slide presentation was on the universe. These were some of the most spectacular pictures that I had ever seen of the universe. And it was like how he went into how all the stars were numbered. And it was all created for a purpose. And, you know, we look at what's going on in our world now and we're saying, what in the world is going on? Because we have no idea.
No.
Between all the different events which are happening simultaneously, everyone's confused, so they would rather just turn on the TV and you know, watch Who's Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Well, what that elderly gentleman told me back in 1975, that my future was in the stars, I didn't quite understand. But interestingly enough, I had what you would consider alien contact or extraterrestrial contact, probably more correct, at the age of 18.
Right.
And it went badly, and they told me they were going to kill me. Now, since then, I should have been dead 16 times, was dead once, was sent back, so I've had a near-death experience. I'm on life 17. My family thinks that I'm crazy. Half of them can't believe I'm still alive. My mother has no explanation for why I'm still here. When I want to piss her off, I'll turn around and say, next time I say something to you that you don't understand, why don't you just turn around and ask yourself, why is that dummy still alive? And she says, oh no. Because she was there at one of the fantastic events that happened in my life. I was in a coma, and an entity came to me and took me to see the birth of my youngest child in real time. Now, I just got to see the birth. I didn't know the sex of the baby, but I got to see the birth, and it wasn't happening in the same hospital I was in. It was happening about 50, 75 miles away. And when I came to some hours later, the first words out of my mouth were for her to go make a phone call that the baby was born. She looked at me confused as hell. I was like, okay, you know, his son just comes out of a coma. Hey, you drove 10 states away to be there. And the first words out of his mouth is, the baby's born. Next time I saw my mom, I went unconscious, but next time I opened my eyes again, she was standing there and she said, congratulations, you have a son. Wow. You know, so we are not alone in all this. Rob, I'm sure you've got plenty of guests that have talked about extraterrestrials and interdimensionals and the fact that we are not just in a three-dimensional world, although some people are still ignorant enough to believe that the Earth is flat. Whatever.
Yeah, but you see, that just goes to show, Peter, that it's the perception that the Earth is flat. In reality, what you're looking at is from where you're standing to the horizon. So it gives you the appearance that it is flat. Just like looking up into the sky and seeing nothing but stars gives you the impression that we are alone.
Yeah, but here's the interesting thing. Well, first of all, for anybody who believes that the Earth is flat, very, very simple physics. It's called surface tension.
Yeah.
Surface tension in the fact that all atomic matter is geared toward electromagnetism. So things are going to start to want to naturally attract to each other. And in a vacuum of space, the more stuff that you pile up, it's going to turn around. Look at all the gaseous planets. There's some very interesting videos that depict water in zero gravity and what they're doing. It's something an experiment that I saw. Perfectly round sphere, they get it to spin around, and what happens? They inject air into the middle of it, and all of a sudden it becomes a hollow sphere.
Yeah. Peter, stand by. You and I have to take our first break. Exonation, the one and only Peter Kling is my very special guest this hour here in the Exxon. His website, www.peterkling.com. That's PeterKling.com. A good friend of the Exxon. It's always great having Peter on the show with us. And we'll be back on the other side of this 2-minute commercial break as we continue investigating the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology here in the Exxon with yours truly, Rob McConnell, from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. How would you like to be able to read other people's minds? Well, the next best thing is here. When you know how to read a person's name, you know how the person thinks, feels, and behaves. Each letter in our name holds a key to unlock our true essence. Our name contains both our gifts and challenges in this lifetime. Nemology science discovers personality secrets hidden in the placement of the letters of our names, including the first and last impression people remember about us. Sharon shows us how to interpret the arrangement of letters as outlined in her book, Know the Name, Know the Person. Sharon Lynn Wyeth created nemology science after 18 years of research and testing her theories, and has supported thousands of people around the world in understanding themselves and others better. You'll enjoy Sharon's unique teachings as she shares her system to learn the gifts behind your given birth name. Even if you don't like your birth name, there are jewels in this book. If you're thinking of changing your name, ready to name your child, or wanting to get along better with others, this is the book for you. If you'd like to improve your relationships and change your life for the better, get the book today, Know the Name, Know the Person, or visit www.knowthename.com. That's www.knowthename.com. Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, on the X-Zone TV show, coming soon to screens of all sizes. On the X-Zone TV show, we'll investigate UFOs, ghosts, alien abductions, demonic possession, psychic phenomenon, angels, lake monsters, Bigfoot, unsolved mysteries, and all subject matter from within the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, and much, much more. The X-Zone TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, www.xzonetv.com, is a rel-mar McConnell media company and Airplay Media production. Welcome back, everyone. Peter Kling is my special guest, and we had Peter on the show last week. And before we actually were able to get into what I consider to be the meat and potatoes of the interview, we were going to start discussing the extraterrestrial presence. But Peter, before we get into the ETs, I have to ask you this question: whatever happened to Comet Ison?
Well, it's all connected, Rob. Here's the thing. In 2012, we were told as a civilization that we were going to see the greatest comet of all time in Comet Ison. Think about that. The greatest comet ever in our civilization's lifetime event. And this comet became everything from just a fantastic coming comet to the mothership to Nibiru to Planet X to, I'm sure you had every guest under the sun on during that time. And interesting, here we're told about this right before December 21st, 2012.
Yeah.
Well, what happened on that day? I don't know. December 22nd came, and just kind of like I said it would, and so did the 23rd, and so forth, and we know that.
But wasn't there also a great galactic alignment?
There's been several alignments going on, yes, and what it was actually supposed to be at that time is that we were supposed to be crossing, it was the progression of the equinoxes where we were now crossing the equator of the Milky Way. So, when you look at the word Nibiru, it actually means crossing, and I'm thinking, wow, this is the only thing that I can prove is that we're crossing. We got to this progression of the equinoxes where we're going into another cycle, but nothing really happened. Well, we started another cycle. Now, we're talking about galactic cycles, okay?
Okay.
We're not talking about Earth years or Earth minutes or nanoseconds that we run races by.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's look and see who had fantastic comets. Well, they've been recorded all throughout history. But it's interesting, the information about December 21st, 2012 came from the Mayans. And they said in their prophecy that the return of the feathered snake god was going to happen. And so now everybody's looking for some kind of feathered snake god, the return of Quetzalcoatl. And it didn't come. And so people went back to the drawing board. They did the recalculation. And they said, oh, wow. No, wait, we made a mistake. It's supposed to be December 16th, 2013 that the return of this comet's supposed to be. What comet? Oh, Ison. Exactly. Now, it's interesting. On December 16th, 2013, Comet Ison should have been aligned with the planet Venus. Mm-hmm. And so we would have looked at the evening sky, and if you go back, if you think about it, Venus was very prominent in the evening sky on December 16th, 2013, and Comet Ison would have been sticking right up above Venus. They would have almost looked like they were connected. And there would have been the sign for the return of the Mayan snake god, or the aliens who the Mayans worshipped. But what happened to it? Well, it went around the sun, and the sun's gravity, wait a minute. The sun's gravity didn't do squat to Comet Ison. I watched Comet Ison live on the feed coming off of Soho. And when it came around the backside of the sun, the coma was blowing in the wrong direction.
Well, how could that be?
Exactly. How could the coma be blowing in the wrong direction?
Yeah.
It should be blowing in the exact direction of the sun. It should be staying in the essentially 90 degrees away from the sun as it comes away from the sun. Instead, it was blowing 45 degrees. How the hell did that happen?
What's your hypothesis on it, Peter?
Kaboom. Something blew it up. And the return of the Mayan gods, that group of alien beings, their sign was destroyed, interestingly enough, on the first day of Hanukkah. The Festival of Lights.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, what did we get instead of Comet Ison to look at? We got the 10 Days of Mandela, because on December 5th, this Knight of Malta, servant of the Vatican, subject of the Pope, got his second death. He officially died the first time on, I believe it was June 26th. But they said, oh, no, he got better. After they pulled the plug, he got better, and they sent him home. Okay, well, if that's the story you want us to believe, fine. They pulled him out of the icebox on December 5th, and they said, oh, now Nelson Mandela died. And so they have the 10 Days of Mandela, where basically 24/7, every news agency in the world is focused on South Africa.
Yeah.
What happened to Comet Ison? Oh, I don't know. It's 10 Days of Mandela. When does Mandela get interned, put into the ground? December 15th. When was the alignment supposed to be? On the 16th. What was there? Nothing. What did we get after Nelson Mandela's? Now, this was a ritual funeral. Mm-hmm. Remember the deaf guy signing away there that nobody knew. He got through security, and he's standing next to the President of the United States and some of the most protected people on the face of the earth.
Let's not get into the U.S. Secret Service, because they're certainly wearing a lot of pie on their face these days.
Yeah, but you know what that man said? That man said that the stadium was filled with angels, or what he perceived to be angels, as he was signing. Now, everybody say, well, he's crazy, and they linked him up to a bunch of stuff, but wait a minute, he's been in their history before. Let that go. But anyway, what did we see after Nelson Mandela was interned? Oh, the revolution in Ukraine went hot. Yes. That shocked the crap out of me, because I was in the first revolution 10 years before. I was in Kiev during the Orange Revolution in December. I was there for the whole month of December almost.
What were you doing there, Peter?
Observing the revolution.
Okay. You revolutionary watcher, you.
I'm sorry?
I just called you a revolutionary watcher.
Oh, it was the greatest party I've ever been to, seriously.
Wait a second, hold on here. We're talking about the revolution, and how can a revolution be a party?
Fact. More marriages took place during the revolution in Kiev than any other time in its history, and shortly thereafter, more pregnancy tests were given in Kiev hospitals.
Well, yeah, one goes with the other usually.
Yeah, and that happened during the revolution.
My gosh.
It was a big picture Times Square, Broadway and 42nd Street, nothing but one big tent city for about 5 or 6 blocks.
Wow. It almost sounds like that picture that everyone is very well familiar with of the sailor kissing the girl at the end of World War II in Times Square, yeah.
So when it turned bloody, I'm almost speechless here. I could literally walk outside my apartment and I would have been right in the thick of it, because right outside my apartment, people were getting killed. And I walked right out onto Independence Square.
Oh my God.
The whole square was burned. It's since been fixed, but you can go back and look at pictures of Independence Square. I was shocked because that's right where I lived, literally.
Wow.
And I lived in Ukraine a total of about 6-7 months over the period of about 5 years. I was conducting business over there at that time, but with a company in Donetsk, interestingly enough. But that's another story. But that happened. What else happened? Oh, the Ebola outbreak in Africa happened.
Yeah.
And we got one country after another country with an Ebola outbreak. And we thought we were facing a world pandemic. They got it under control. Boy, isn't that you have to look at that, because that in itself is its own cover-up. And then what happens? We also get the rise of ISIS, which just will not go away, and caused the United Nations last year at the General Assembly to adopt a worldwide resolution, totally voted for and sanctioned by the councils, the Security Council, to end extremism. Which means programs like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, like all those programs, like maybe the American militia, like any kind of group that could be considered to be an extremist group. Like, if you want to see peace on earth, you might be an extremist.
Isn't that the truth? Now, Peter, in your opinion, has the United Nations surpassed its use?
No, not at all. The United Nations has to destroy religion.
Geez. So,
now,
is it just Catholicism? Is it just Christianity? Is it just Hebrew? Or is it just Islam? Or is it every religion?
Well, if you look at what the Vatican is trying to do now, the Pope has been really the ambassador to all the other religions, and he's made statements that all religions lead to God, and it's all to support the post-2015 development agenda, which is being met, which is going to be voted on this September at the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations. Now, interestingly enough, after Comet Ison and all this stuff breaks out, we go into the blood moon, the tetrad blood moons. Now, this is a whole interesting set of prophecies from the Bible, that there are 6 different scriptures that refer to the moon as being turned to blood and the sun as being darkened before the great and illustrious day of Yahweh. Now, these are signs, but and they've happened before. That the earliest recorded one that I know was during the death of Christ, when he was put on, when he was sacrificed, then laid a blood claim to this earth on 33 CE. It was under one of the tetrad blood moons. The tetrad blood moon started in 32 and they ended in 33. So Jesus was put to death under the tetrad moons. It's believed that it was the same day as a total solar eclipse, something extremely rare. So, because the skies went totally dark and terrible lightning storm happened, and interestingly enough, there was an earthquake, and in the earthquake, the curtain that separated the holy from the most holy was torn in two. It was an 18-inch leather curtain that was rent in half. So it wasn't just some cloth piece of material there.
Right.
So that covenant of the Mosaic law had ended with Jesus' death, and that blood claim. Now it was made on earth. Now, remember something. It was an interdimensional by the name of Gabriel,
right,
who was mentioned back in Daniel, who said, "Hey, Mary, you're pregnant with the Son of God." Where did they get the perfect DNA from? You think it may have been in a storage facility somewhere?
Well, you see, what we're doing now is we're touching on what we talked about last time you were with us when God took the rib out of Adam. This was genetic engineering, the creation of Eve.
Yeah, beam me in, Scotty.
Exactly.
So here we are. We're dealing with interdimensionals again, or extraterrestrials, something beyond this planet.
The Watchers.
Well, there's another group.
Yeah.
You start looking at the different groups, and they're all mentioned either through ancient biblical books, through the Bible itself. When I say ancient biblical books, because some haven't been added, like the Book of Enoch. Book of Enoch is fantastic. You want to talk about interdimensionals. Whoa, right there.
What I have to talk about right now, Peter, is we've got to take a news break. Exonation, Peter Kling is my very special guest. Always great having Peter with us. www.peterkling.com. And we'll be back on the other side of this news break as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Whether you're a skeptic or a believer, join me, Rob McConnell, on the X Zone TV show, coming soon to screens of all sizes. On the X Zone TV show, we'll investigate UFOs, ghosts, alien abductions, demonic possession, psychic phenomenon, angels, lake monsters, Bigfoot, unsolved mysteries, and all subject matter from within the world of the paranormal and the science of parapsychology, and much, much more. The X Zone TV show with yours truly, Rob McConnell, www.xzonetv.com, is a rel-mar McConnell media company and Airplay Media production. Do you think you have energy problems in your home? Do you feel better when you're away than when you're home? Joey Korn is a global leader in the world of dowsing who specializes in personal energy clearing and space clearing. He can help you create an ideal energy environment in your home no matter where you live in the world. Learn about his remote spiritual house cleaning services and much more at www.dowsers.com. You can get Joey's book, Dowsing, A Path to Enlightenment, as well as other dowsing books and tools, Kabbalah books, and Walter Russell books. Joey's work is really amazing. Go to dowsers.com right now. That's DOWSERS.com, or call 1-877-DOWSING. That's 1-877-369-7464. With each new extreme weather event or terrorist act, it becomes increasingly obvious that we live in uncertain and challenging times. We all buy car insurance. Why not collapse and catastrophe insurance? Matthew Stein, an MIT-trained engineer and green builder, has written 2 outstanding books to help people prepare, plan for, and deal with everything from minor situations lasting a few days to full-on collapse. Matt's first book, When Technology Fails, is a manual for self-reliance, sustainable living, and surviving the long emergency. This massive book covers the gamut from first aid and emergency preparedness to alternative healing, renewable energy, primitive living skills, and 18th century technologies that could be critical to your comfort and survival in a long-lasting crisis. Matt's second book, When Disaster Strikes, is a comprehensive emergency preparedness handbook and survival guide. When Disaster Strikes is an essential item for every family's go bag. Both books are available at all usual sources. There's a wealth of totally free information posted at whentechfails.com, and author-signed copies may be purchased at mattstein.com. That's www.whentechfails.com and www.mattstein.com. Peter Peter Kling is our special guest this hour, Exonation, www.peterkling.com. And Peter, let's get back to the religious aspect of our conversation this hour. The elimination or the annihilation of all religions. How is this going to be done, and whose idea was this?
Well, the United Nations, actually, this started back in the mid-'50s, believe it or not. There's been a group within the United Nations to end religion as we know it, as far back as I could track, to about the mid-'50s. And all the laws are written very ambiguously when you look at the rights to religion. But the most interesting thing, and this one is plain as day, when you go to the United Nations Resolution on Freedom of Religion, I believe it's Article 2.1, where it says that we are guaranteed our freedom of religion provided that it is not a hazard to public safety.
Say that
now,
again.
Let me strap this bomb on and let me walk into this coffee shop and let me yell God's name and hit the detonate button.
Huh.
Whoa, did my religion just become a hazard to public safety?
That's what it sounds like.
Does that mean that my religion should be illegal? Well, according to the United Nations, it is, or it should be. Now,
well, if that's the case, how come the United Nations and other countries in the world aren't banding together to annihilate ISIS?
Well, what do you think happened last September at the 69th General Assembly to end extremism? If you go back and watch any of the excerpts from that meeting, you had virtually every ambassador from every Islamic state standing up and say, Islam is not extremism. Islam is not part of ISIS. They tried to separate themselves as far away from ISIS as they could. And then the United Nations Security Council voted unanimously to end extremism. So ISIS, which is an extreme example of a religious movement trying to control government. Trying to control government? Religion trying to control government? Did I just say religion trying to control government? You know how old that is? That goes back to the ancient Sumerians and the Anunnaki, where all this starts out, because they gave us religion and government to start. And when you look at the historical record, because you can't find this in the Bible, you've got to go back and do the historical digging. What you find is that Nimrod's wife, Nimrod was the first king of Babylon, or became the Babylonian Empire. She was literally a prostitute. Her name was Syriamis. He met her. She was a Erechite, as I recall, and he met her in a brothel on the way home from one of his conquests. I guess she screwed herself into being queen, and then she had him executed. But she made herself goddess of the earth, moon, and stars, and Nimrod became the god of the sun god, the first sun god king. And all other religious beliefs have been based on this. But here's the interesting thing. Syriamis was the goddess of the kingdom, and she had Nimrod, the political side, killed. One story says that he was actually torn apart and eaten raw at an orgy. Yeah, pretty good. It was typically the New Year lamb that they would tear apart and eat raw. They would all get themselves strung out on whatever hallucinogenics they could find and as much wine as they could hold. And she substituted Nimrod. That's one story. The other one just says, she just had him had him killed. He made her queen for a day. She had him killed. Yeah. That was pretty much how that's the clean story. But anyway, from there, we get the story of the Tower of Babel, where all the languages are confused, and then everybody leaves. But where does it pick up? Our story picks up in Egypt. It goes from Egypt, the first world empire, the first world empire, first world power. From Egypt, it goes to Assyria. From Assyria, it goes to Babylon. From Babylon, it goes to the Medes and Persians, which we have now is pretty much Iran, if you want to call it that. And then from there, it goes to the Greeks. Now, interesting, when the first time Gabriel is mentioned, this interdimensional is mentioned, is in the book of Daniel. In the 10th chapter, Daniel's praying to Yahweh, saying, hey, what are we supposed to do here? And he's waiting for an answer. No answer's coming. And finally, Gabriel shows up. Hey, says, hey, sorry I'm late, but I was battling the Prince of Persia, and he wouldn't let me pass. Then I had to go back and get Michael the Foremost one of you to wrestle with him so I could deliver the message. And when he leaves, he says, well, I got to go back and wrestle with the Prince of Persia again. And look, the Prince of Greece is coming. And well, from Greece we go to Rome. From Rome we go to where? To England. And England, the United States, the Anglo-American world power. And all of these 7 world powers are the 7 heads of the wild beast which ascends out of the sea with the 10 horns. 10 kingdoms, 7 heads, 7 world powers. So now you've got one united nation that represents all nations. And then as you get down to the latter part of Revelation 13, it talks about how the false prophet, this 2-horned false prophet that looks like a peaceful lamb but speaks like a dragon. Wait a minute, now horns are kingdoms. Horns are always kingdoms. So this lamb, this peaceful lamb, has 2 horns. And it looks like it's peaceful, but it speaks like a dragon. Like the United States and the United Kingdom, which speak of peace, but they continue to create war. And when you look at what it says, that this false prophet can even call down fire from heaven, as in atomic warfare, Nagasaki, Hiroshima, and over other 600 atomic explosions that took place over land before they went underneath land. And then you can also look at the firebombing of Dresden and Munich and Tokyo that killed actually more people than any atomic bomb ever did. But still, we have this false prophet that's talking about peace that gives its power to this image of the wild beast. What's that image? A low post-2015 development agenda. Here's the line in the sand.
Right.
Life is going to change, and we're going to make it change for the better. Really? You mean so all the nations can declare peace and security just before the end is instantly upon them, just as the pangs of distress of a pregnant woman? Cool, bring it on.
Sure.
More biblical prophecy fulfilled. Because the closer we get, the closer we are to seeing this crap come to an end. That's that's the truth. No matter what flavor you paint it, it still smells and tastes the same. And I've had enough of it myself. Let's get on with the rest of what we're doing. Let's get the King of Kings in here to clean out this rebel alien invasion that we've obviously had, which has corrupted every kingdom on the face of the planet. Oh, what's he talking about? Do a search. Go online, do a Google image search, and start typing in Pope, devil horns, Obama, devil horns, famous people, devil horns, and see what starts showing up. They're showing you who they are aligned with. The devil. Oh, he doesn't exist. Come on. No, it's a satanic rebellion of interdimensionals and possibly genetically engineered dimensionals, such as the Greys, that they're genetically engineered more than likely, which have taken over the planet Earth. If you're familiar with Karen Udis, she says that the governments of the world, that the leaders of the world are being controlled by Homo capensis, which lives underground, which could very well be the species that I met, because they all had monk robes. You couldn't see anything more than their faces. Very nice material. It wasn't just this burlappy stuff. And they are the ones that put a death warrant on me. So I've been involved in this at a slightly different dimension for 40 years of my life.
Wow.
Yeah. I survived 16 times. I should have been dead.
So Peter, what is all this leading up to? Are we leading up to the fight between good and evil as talked about in the book of Revelations?
Well, yeah, pretty much. Here's the thing. All of this is playing out. Mm-hmm. Now, the first thing that they want to do is end poverty. This is part of the United Nations post-2015 development agenda. Number 1 on their agenda is to end poverty. What did this Pope started calling for 2 years ago? The end of the debt system. October 13th, 2013, he put out a 41-page treatise on ending the debt system. Since then, we've seen the creation of the BRICS banks,
right,
and just recently, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, which everybody of the United States flocked to become founding members of. Wait a minute. Did everybody make a pit stop and we were out on the road with bad tires and we're running out of gas? Yeah, exactly. Now, who controls the dollar? The Federal Reserve. Who controls the Federal Reserve? The Rothschild, Bush, Rockefeller cabals. You see, and so now we get into the banksters. But now who makes up the banksters? Well, who created the banking system?
Let me ask you this question, Peter. Who is the one world order that we all hear about? People say that the government is actually a puppet government for a shadow government. Who is, in your opinion, the new world order?
It's a composite. It is. You remember we talked about the Prince of Persia, the Prince of Greece? Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at the numbers in Revelation, those princes could number possibly as many as 100 million.
Wow.
So there's plenty of princes to go around for every government on the face of the planet and pretty much every government official. Hello, Hillary. I wonder if you're possessed by a fallen angel. Not a demonic spirit, a fallen angel.
Actually, she's possessed by Monica Lewinsky.
There you go, a succubus in the flesh.
There you go. Or a succubill.
Succubill.
There you go.
Succubill in the bus, in the flesh. Oh, where are we going? Let's not make the show corrupt. The system's corrupt enough. But we all know it's being led by the most corrupt people on the planet.
Yeah. And
they're showing us in their hand signs who they're lied to. We know we got aliens. How many whistleblowers have we had come out of the military say, hey, we've been using alien technology since they've been handing it to us? Let's look at some facts. World War I was fought on horseback. World War II ended in atomic warfare. Where the hell did that technology come from?
The Germans.
Where did they get it from? Oh, the aliens. Through bringing back religious cults.
But, one of the questions I get asked all the time whenever I'm out doing a lecture or a meet and greet with people is, if there is reversed engineering of alien technology, and alien technology was used, how come we're still using old propulsion systems to go from Earth to Mars?
It's very simple. Who control NASA's the display case for the fireworks show? They are the store window. Okay, this is the latest and greatest technology that all of the brains from all of the colleges that we allow to stay within the commercial world are working on. This is the best that they can do. And what are they doing? They're handing off the space program to private industry, right?
Yep.
What about DARPA and the military side? Ooh. What about Area 51 and stories that come from people like Bill Lazar?
Yeah, but when you look at the big picture, though, Peter, maybe I'm missing the small picture here. But when I hear of Japan planning to do a lunar mission in, I believe it's 2016 or 2018, and if we do have the technology that extraterrestrials have either given us or we've taken from crashed vehicles, why do we need to go back to the moon? Why do we need to continue our quest for space, even if it's just to dress up the window so that the real man behind the curtain isn't seen? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, and I'm going to explain it to you. The 2045 agenda. See, this ties right in.
Okay.
Creating nanobot technology. I watched a documentary about a week ago where they were talking about deep space exploration, and they're already talking about genetically engineering humans to do it. Yep, humans will do it, but it won't be genetically engineered. But they won't be genetically the same as we are here on Earth. We're going to have to genetically engineer these people so they can endure these types of. Wait a minute, what do you mean? Once you genetically change us, we're no longer human.
Right.
But they already have plans to do this.
Who are they?
The brains that are leading NASA, the brains that are leading DARPA, the brains that are leading academia.
The one world order.
Yeah, the ones who are being funded by the one world order. You see, here's the thing. When I was told that my future was in the stars, that was correct. What is our quest? What is the quest of this one world order? Look how much money we're dumping into finding new planets to go visit. And so there's this whole subconscious drive to get off Earth. We've got to get off Earth. We've got to expand.
But if we have reverse technology, if we have the information that has come to us from extraterrestrials, why do we need to put all this money into looking for what we are supposedly already supposed to know?
This is how it works. They believe that they can actually win this battle, and so what they're doing is getting the best brains available, getting the greatest minds. And when you look at it, there's a connection through the Freemasons. You want to see businesses which are developing the greatest technology and getting grants? There's a Freemason connection there.
Wow.
Yeah. Now it goes beyond that, but because you have a lot of private foundations which are set up, but they're all members of the Freemasons, or they're all tied in with secret societies. So they're funding this. Now, you've got 7 billion people on the Earth. What do the Georgia Guidestones say? Oh, sorry, we got to lose all but about 500 million. Well, what 500 million do we want to keep? Well, the greatest and the biggest and the best. The best minds with that have the greatest capability.
All right, so you and I are going to be all right. Yeah, who else?
We're expendable. We're highly expendable. But that's okay. Let me ask you a question,
sure.
Rob. When you read what the prophecy in Revelation 6:12 through 17, it starts off that the earth has a fantastically great earthquake. If it has an earthquake that is never before happened on this planet, do you want to be underground or do you want to be on top? I'd rather be off the planet.
Oh, I agree. But if push came to shove, I'd rather be underground. Hey, Peter, take care. We've got to take a final break here. Exonation, Peter Kling is my special guest. www.peterkling.com. This is the Exona, a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard, Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern. And starting on May the 4th on Starcom Radio Network, we're going to be, Monday through Friday from 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. Over 400 affiliates. We'll be back on the other side of the short break as we continue here in the X Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell. Whatever you do, don't go away. We'll be right back. What if someone told you could live to be 120? Would you believe him? What if he told you the Bible guaranteed it? All you needed to do was follow his rules and buy his products. Would you do it? What if you invested 20 years of your life in him? What if he tested his substances on your child? What if your child became brain damaged as a result? Meet Dr. Tyler Belknap, a fast-talking Texas admin turned health guru. At the helm of a vast health food and supplement empire, he has established himself as the authority on nutrition and longevity. But what his followers don't know is that his products are laced with bizarre psychoactive substances from genetically modified plants developed in his very own secret lab. No wonder his customers can't stop using them. Tyler Belknap will stop at nothing to keep his edge in the market, even if it means experimenting on children. Chasing 120, a story of food, faith, fraud, and the pursuit of longevity, a novel from the pen of political cartoonist Monty Wolverton, is an easy and entertaining read full of rich characters and intrigue. It hits home in a world filled with all kind of hucksterism and offers a glimpse of what can happen when GMO technology falls into the wrong hands. Chasing 120 by Monty Wolverton. Get your copy today at www.ptm.org/120 or on Amazon.com.
Nita Hickok is an expert in exorcisms, psychic warfare, soul healing, angelology, soul retrieval, demonology, energy healing, long-distance healing, astral healing, and much more. Nita is an interfaith minister because she believes all gods and goddesses are valid and that they are part of one divine force that is incomprehensible to us who are incarnated upon this earth. Nita has been doing astral healing, distant healing, spirit release, exorcism, house cleansing and blessings, soul restoring and revival, psychic vampire removal and curse removal, and much more for over 40 years. For more information or to contact Nita Hickok, visit her website at www.astralhealer.com. That's www.astralhealer.com.
Rob McConnell here, presenting an overview for Nicholas Paul Jennings, author of a fascinating book, Amen. It presents facts revealed by Egyptologists, facts that enable us to understand why Amen is the beginning of creation of God. It provides recommendations for religious leaders of the major religions to unify their beliefs and teach the Word of God. Love one another. Amen informs people how mankind conceived God. It was the Egyptians that developed the concepts of a soul, a hereafter, and Son of God. And finally, after the worship of many gods, they conceived the belief in one universal God, the maker of all there is. For more information, visit www.futureofgodamen.com. That's www.futureofgodamen.com. Peter Kling is our guest, www.peterkling.com. First of all, Pete, always great having you with us. Thanks so much for sharing your time with us here in the X Zone.
My pleasure.
So let's take this conversation into the future. We've got about 4 minutes left.
Well, let's do that. Here's an interesting thing. The 70th Assembly of the General Assembly, or the 70th General Assembly of the United Nations, will end on September 28th. The last of the tetrad blood moons, and with that they will have adopted the post-2015 development agenda. Here comes your New World Order. This is what everybody was afraid of, and it's happening right under everybody's nose in the guise of something peaceful. But what things have to happen? Now, they want to end poverty. How are they going to end poverty? Well, let's see. If they end religion and take all of the wealth that religion has accumulated over the past 2,000 years and dispense it amongst the people, I'd say that would do it, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's interesting. That's what, when you look at Revelation 17 and 18, that's what it says happens. It says that this image, that this whore, this Babylon the Great, rides the back of this seven-headed scarlet-colored wild beast with 10 horns, and it turns on her, and it eats up her fleshy parts, and first it makes her naked, it exposes her, it eats up her fleshy parts, and then it burns the remains with fire, eats up the fleshy parts, all the wealth. Wow. Now, when you also look, there's one very interesting prophecy which has not been touched yet, at least not that I can see. Revelation 9. And the only way I can describe Revelation 9 is a coming alien occupation or invasion. And this is like every whistleblower that came out of the military. This is everything that they said was going to happen is going to pretty much happen. We are going to see some sort of a genetically engineered chimera running across the face of the earth in the name of alien occupation. Everybody has talked about this since time immemorial. Everybody's talked about the New World Order. Here it is. We've got a whole chapter which has not been fulfilled. And then after that, we have some sort of worldwide calamity. Exactly what causes it, I don't know. But at that point, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords shows up with the immortals and the armies of heaven, armies plural, several different species thereof, in order to go to do battle right here on this planet and end this system of evil. And it is our exodus from this negative crap that we've been forced to live in into a positive timeline, into a time when the earth will be regenerated, when it will be restored, and so will we. We will be brought back to having perfect human DNA, the same type of DNA that Jesus displayed when he was here on earth. And yes, we'll be able to do the same type of things. Can I get you a glass of wine, Rob?
Please. And if you have any fish, I'll take some fish as well. And if you want to show me where the rocks are, I'll walk across the sea.
All we have to do is wait, because we're running out of biblical prophecy. We really are. 80% of the biblical prophecies are in play or have been fulfilled. I follow this stuff. There's not enough time on your show to go through all the prophecies. but there's only a few left. What the United Nations did last year was put all the prophecies in Revelation chapter 16 into play. But this is the end of the stuff that we don't want. And we can't fight it ourselves. It's not really our fight. All we can do is stay back and watch and stay in a state of love and support each other. That's the best thing that we can do. And if you haven't read it already, read Letters to Earth, because you can survive Armageddon.
Peter, I want to thank you ever so much for sharing your time with us here on the X Zone. I look forward to the next time you and I meet, because I want to talk to you next time about 2045.
Absolutely.
All right, Peter, take care, my good friend. Have a great weekend. And Exonation, Peter Kling has been my guest this hour, peterkling.com, and we'll be back on the other side of this news break at 6.5 minutes past the top of the hour as we continue here in the X Zone from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away.